Welcome to the channel. My name is Matthias. Today we're back with the Inferno crossover. We're going to cover X Factor issues 36 and 37 and Uncanny X-Men issue 241. And before I get into the issues themselves, I have to say that one of the big highlights of this crossover is that the artists are just having a ball with this whole hell on earth type of situation that we have. We have Limbo corrupting everything on Earth. Well, actually, everything starts in Manhattan and New York, obviously. New York is like the center of the universe in Marvel Comics in general. But the thing is, you have Walter Simonson and Mark Silvestri, Brett Blevins, just going crazy with the art. They're super creative in every single panel. There's a lot going on. Now, that aside, let's get into the first X Factor issue where we have the husband and wife team of Walter and Louise Simonson. And here they illustrate the situation where, again, hell on earth. We have the members of X Factor trying to save as many people as possible. Because the corrupting effect that Limbo has on the city is that every single inanimate object becomes alive, be it a chair, a table, a car, a train, and immediately tries to kill everyone around them. So we have this very terrible situation where we have the members of X Factor trying really hard to keep up and save as many people as possible. There were a ton of tie-ins outside of the X titles also illustrating the situation. Be it Spider-Man, Daredevil, Fantastic Four, the Avengers. The thing is that in all this chaos, Jean Grey discovers that Cyclops' son, who had gone missing, is somewhere in Manhattan. She calls on the rest of her teammates to go out and try to find poor Nathan. Also, before this happened, at the beginning of the issue, we had Archangel, who had beheaded Cameron Hodge. He was like his arch nemesis during this run. He's the guy responsible for pushing Angel to unalive himself in the beginning of the series. And he tried to steal his fortune because he used to be his childhood friend, but now he really hated mutants, or he always hated mutants, and he envied Warren. But the thing is, he stirred up all kinds of anti-mutant sentiment and made things worse for mutants in general. So we had the situation where Archangel had beheaded Cameron Hodge, but he has no idea that Hodge had made a deal with this demon called Nastir. He's also the demon responsible for corrupting Madeline Pryor and converting her into the Goblin Queen. So Nastir had given Cameron Hodge immortality, so he's going to resurface further down the line as this crazy cyborg monster. And he's going to pretty much take over Genosha during the Extinction Agenda crossover, a story that I really love, even though it's 90s as hell. For good and for bad, but the thing is that story and the Muir Island saga pretty much set up the birth of X-Force and the new X Factor. Now, let's get into the X-Men issue 241, where we have the first confrontation between the Goblin Queen, Madeline Pryor, and Mr. Sinister. In the previous issue, she discovers that Mr. Sinister is her creator. Here she discovers that she's a clone of Jean Grey, that she has been a puppet and served the interests of Mr. Sinister this whole time, that she has not had any agency in her life up until this moment, till she started to make these deals with Sim first and then with Nastir, which led to the birth of the Goblin Queen. So what happens here is she discovers her nature and the fact that when Phoenix died on the blue side of the moon, the Phoenix Force, when that Phoenix died, instead of reawakening the real Jean Grey by accident, it awoke Madeline Pryor. But what happens with Mr. Sinister next is super cool because he thinks that Madeline is totally under his control. He has a ton of fail-safes put into her mind just for this reason. The thing is that Madeline has become so powerful that she's able to break free from Sinister's control. And she overpowers Sinister, and he has to make a run for it. Now, while all of this is going down, we had, prior to the beginning of the story, this battle between the X-Men and the Marauders. The X-Men are out for payback. They want to avenge the deaths of the Morlocks at the hands of the Marauders. Now, while this battle is raging on, the city starts coming alive, as I mentioned previously. And different objects start attacking the members of the X-Men and the Marauders, really catching everyone by surprise. Also, we have the situation where Colossus is fighting against Riptide. He doesn't understand because during the Mutant Massacre, Colossus had killed Riptide. So he doesn't know how he came back to life. So Claremont sets up very early on the idea that Sinister has a bunch of clones for each member of the Marauders. So basically the ones in the field are pretty much expendable. Now, at the end of the X-Men issue, Nash Tier arrives to give Goblin Queen a hand with Mr. Sinister, but when he arrives, the demon discovers that she has dealt with the villain, and at this moment, Nash Tier has infected himself with the techno-organic virus. I don't know when this happens in particular. I'm not sure if this takes place in a New Mutants tie-in or in the Fallen Angels series, because the demon also arrives with Nathan Summers in his arms as an offer to his queen. So we're back with the X Factor issue, and what happens is they find baby Nathan. He's in possession of Nash Tier. He's sending wave upon wave of demons after them. But what Nash Tier is trying to do is set up the big reveal of the Goblin Queen, because obviously she wants to take vengeance on Cyclops, because early on in the series, Cyclops abandoned his wife because they were married and his child. He left to New York City. He formed X Factor. He never put too much effort trying to find them. Like, he traveled to Alaska, thought that Madeline was dead and that there was no sign of Nathan. And after that, at least the series never touches on that issue again. Maybe once or twice. But the thing is that the Goblin Queen not only really hates Cyclops, but to add on top of this, we have Jean Grey present, the woman who Madeline has competed her whole life with for the love of Cyclops. And now she discovers that she's a clone of Jean Grey, that her whole life is a lie, and that she was a puppet. So when she sees both of them in the battlefield together, she totally flips out, goes full on crazy. She even seems to be willing to sacrifice baby Nathan just to hurt and mess with Cyclops. Now, I'm not sure, but Nash Tier stops the Goblin Queen from straight up killing Jean Grey. The demon's like, focus on the demon invasion. That's our main objective. The Goblin Queen obviously takes this very poorly. But what happens is she reverts back to being Madeline Pryor, and she sets up the situation where she tricks the X-Men into thinking that X Factor was trying to kill her and take her baby. So we get a pretty cool setup for this battle between X Factor and X-Men, which isn't a superhero misunderstanding. Not only the X-Men were being manipulated by Madeline Pryor, they had been corrupted by the effects of Limbo itself. But we're going to cover that in the next video. So I hope you guys like this one. See you guys next time. Bye.